everyone. So, yeah, if I were to describe this chapter in one word, it would be despair. Complete and utter despair. Everything that could go wrong just went absolutely wrong. Like, how this chapter ends with the League of Villains gathering together, including a revived clone of Twice, is by very definition the worst case scenario in my mind. And taking All For One's words at face value, and with Twice's return, I get the feeling Hawks is going to die. Not 100% sure on Endeavor yet. I mean, there are signs that point to him dying as well. But I feel Hawks is practically a guaranteed death at this point. With the Prince return of Twice, it kind of brings everything kind of back around, and the idea that since Hawks was the one who killed Twice this time around might be the one to end up killing Hawks. Like that, especially since this version of Twice, again, just based off his little dialogue bit in this chapter, kind of gives off the vibe like this clone seems to have the real Twice's memories so yeah, it's like it would also make logical and just kind of like and just for the parallels of it, yeah, it would make sense that Hawks would probably die by Twice's hands. Honestly, like I feel it kind of has to happen now. With all that being the case, obviously this chapter made it clear that, yeah, Kurogiri won out in the end, but the big question right now is how long he's going to remain in control of the body, because with the setup we have now in the chapter, I believe even more that Horikoshi is setting the stage for just the right moment for Oboro to maybe gain control again. The only question is under what circumstances that's going to happen. Like, what's going to be the moment what's going to be the moment of when it happens, and that's still part of the part I'm trying to figure out, because with how much longer he's gonna, and just how much longer with how much of a back and forth we've had with Kurogiri, it's hard to tell of how much longer he's gonna keep it going. Like, however, with that said, the one thing I do stand by my belief on is in that final page of the last chapter, when it did show a portion of Oboro had broken through, I genuinely believe that Oboro is still going to wrest control in some degree. It's just a matter of when and how it matters, and how Horikoshi expands upon that. With that said, though, let's talk about Dabi Toya, because the truth be told, I'm kind of reaching that point where Toya might be beyond saving, and the only real way to really save him at this point is to almost kind of giving him what he wants, which is killing him. I mean, in the chapter itself, we see how Toya, Dabi, he talks about how his body is breaking down, and with no signs like he wants to stop his rampage. Like he is determined in order to kill Endeavor before he is determined to kill Endeavor before the flame of his life gets snuffed out. And so, because of that, it's feeling more and more like that's something he wants death, because the other thing about it too is, ever since the revelation that Dabi is Toya, it's become more and more clear of a certain undertone with Dabi's character, that underneath the visage of the psychopath of Dabi, I think Toya, he genuinely sees his powers as a curse, and maybe the only way that he feels he can be truly free is through death. Like, he wants to die because it's the only way he feels he can be free. And mind you, it's only a speculation, but with how far Horikoshi keeps pushing upon the more irredeemable and downright insane aspects of Dabi's character, like, death feels like the only real way that this saga ends. This saga ends for the subject ends for the Todoroki family, which is by killing Toya. Now, maybe there's a way to do it without killing him, but as far as how that actually plays out, I'm running out of ideas of how you can feasibly make that happen or make that work, and how that would even play out on a narrative level without any sort of redemption feeling forced. Like, personally, the only way I see any kind of scenario where they save Shoto and he lives through this, or where they save Toya and he lives through this, is if Shoto or Endeavor somehow end up saving Toya from himself, but he's obviously still imprisoned and bitter at his family, and maybe we'll see something in the epilogue where progressively over time, the more they visit him in prison, the more their relationship starts slowly healing. But that's the only way I feel this can end for. That's the only way I can feel this end for Toya in that scenario where he survives. That, at least the one that doesn't involve killing him. So like I said, I really don't know. I also like, but also one little detail I like is how Toya's power is so strong that it's actually picked up on the news as a weather report. That's one of those things that's both scary and hilarious all at the same time. Like, just the idea of Toya's powers being the idea of Toya's heat being so strong that it actually like forces a weather phenomenon. That is pretty fucking scary. Also, so now with that said, credit where it's due. I've never been the biggest fan of Monoma. People who've watched my reviews know that. But in the entire back half of the story, he's starting from probably the end of the joint training arc to now. Monoma's development has made him a true ride or die character that I can kind of fuck with. And like I think one of the big things with Monoma for me now is we're seeing the true side of him, the one that isn't covered up by all his insecurities and all the other bullshit he's said and done in order to mask those insecurities. Like now Monoma is like he's leading to this point. Monoma feels like a fully realized character who's good, who's absolutely confident in himself, in his abilities, and even though the shift in character was maybe a little bit fast tracked in this back half, it is nice to see regardless and it does show how war like this can really give a person that sense of perspective and priority of what's really important. Like we see Monoma kind of trash talking a bit that he's talking about being famous and it'll be because of him that they won, but he underneath again that's just him saying underneath it all he knows the only way that happens is because of those fighting on the front lines, the ones he's initially viewed as trouble or viewed as those he sees as lesser than him. Like he sees Izuku, he sees Bakugo as the only ones now who can truly end this. It's a nice showing of how much he's matured and how he has become a hero in his own right, just probably not in the way he envisioned in his head. And yeah, from here there's not much more to talk about other than the manga's going on break next week, which is kind of funny. The manga's going on break, which is kind of funny how it goes on break just as we've entered the week where One Piece returns. Not to get conspiratorial, but I wonder if that's just a coincidence or if it was planned in some way on Shonen Jump's part. Like I don't think it's the latter, but still it played out weirdly that way. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, or just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight signing off. Later, everyone.